you bigger than what some people, your employer says you are worth. It gives you that paycheck at the end of the month. You know that you know better than this. You know you could do much more than this. You know that there's something inside of you that tells you, hey, come, you are bigger than that. If I have any witness in the house, anyone who knows you are on a job, but something tells you that you are better, please can you drop a yes? I just want to know if I'm in alignment with you. Come on, guys. Do you think you are bigger or better than where you are currently? Do you think what you do right now, you're much more better than that stuff? You are worth more. I want to hear your yes or a no from where you are. Come on, let's talk. Yes, yes, yes. I'm getting only 4 or 5 yeses, but I know we've over 30 something on the group. How many of you are here, guys? How many you truly know? I'm not forcing you, but this is something that happens in the inside of you that tells you that you are way more than this. Even if you're on the business where you're doing right now, the clients that pay you, the fee they pay you, and all of that deep inside of you, you know that, guy, I'm better, I'm worth more than this. Great. I think we're in alignment with this. Now, the next thing here is this: how do you move from where you are? How do you scale? How do you get past where you are? I told you I am this guy. Maybe one part of my story that I didn't really add was I was a trainer accountant, working in the financial industry for over 10 years, and I got fired. You know why I said that? I don't like saying I lost the job. I just want to know, because there are few people who could relate with my story. I got fired from my job. In fact, I've been fired 3 times from my job. Now, being fired from the job, the last one I said to myself, guy, I'm not going back. I'm not going to look for a job. I got a degree, I got a qualification. I'm not going to work for anyone. Then I sat back and asked myself, what else can I do with my life? Now that the job that I love is gone, now that everything that I cherish is gone, now that everything that I hold so dear, in fact, I was the first in my family to get a big corporate job in the bank. Banks in Nigeria, ask anyone, maybe not now again, I don't know, but when I was there, they were one of the high paying after telecom and oil industry. Banking was among them. So it was such a pride to be in space like that. Now the job is gone and I got fired from this job. I asked myself, what can I do with my life? Now, while on the job, this symposium or this webinar is important to you that sits on your job and just think that that one stream of income is enough. You have to start thinking again. So I asked myself, what can I do? While I was in the job, I've written 2 books. And then the third book was the second book, Thriving in the Marketplace, was what actually brought me to South Africa. It's taking me to Kenya, to Tanzania, and to Uganda. It was just one book, taking me to over 5 countries. People saw my book, asked me who would like you to come speak and all of that. So I was doing this while I was on the job. I wrote my book. In fact, I made my first million just launching the book. Now, what happened? My MD and the team, my seniors in the bank were so super impressed, but we knew how tough it is to work in the bank. You leave your house as early as 6:30, depending on where you stay. If you stay in Lagos, you probably will need to leave your house by 4 a.m. so you could be in the office by 7:30. Now, it was tedious. You leave early, you get home very late. Sometimes we get home by 10, we get home by 12 a.m. Then you need to sleep for like 3 hours, 4 hours, wake up again, get ready. Now, it was that cumbersome. And then I put together this book for my marketing team because I didn't like the way they were approaching marketing and sales. So I wrote the book, Thriving in the Marketplace. And some of my directors were super impressed. And then they're like, it's not about the book, but it was, how did you make out time to do this? So all of them were super highly excited. And during their launch, I got lots of checks, a lot of this coming in. And then the invitations start coming in. Some microfinance banks, some organization calls me on weekend, come train our staff, come speak to our people, even churches, come talk to us, come. That was where it all started. But I was still very much employed. So identify this calling, identify this gift. Now, guys, every one of you here, before I move into what entrepreneur itself is, I need to settle this three things that I just put forward here. Begin with the mindset, your heart, your belief, and your attitude. Now, mindset is a whole different training that I hold for a different session that could take up to 3 weeks, 6 weeks just to run a session on mindset. Because your success as an entrepreneur, your success as even a career professional is dependent on the kind of mindset, the belief, and the attitude that you put forward on the job. But firstly, it all begins here. So there's a whole lot of psychology around what happens to you and the kind of things you've been experiencing is here. I wasn't like the best in my class or back then in varsity or in school. I wasn't like the best, but there was something I knew. I may not be the best in class, but I knew that when it comes to self-awareness, when it comes to how to fight my way out, because I knew that life is all about the survival of the fittest. No one is going to give it to you on a platter of gold. So I walked my way. All the time I walked on my mind, it's possible. Can I talk to you about how I got my first job, paying job in the bank? While we were waiting on our final year, I got other friends of mine who've already applied for jobs. They already been invited for interview. Back then, the final year, everyone is talking about their big uncles. Everyone is talking about their brother that is employed in a big company, oil, telecoms, and banks, and all of that. I knew no one. I had no one. In fact, I had a speech that I called Born with a Black Spoon. Mine was so black, and it was too dark. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have anyone to call on. There was no one in my family that could help me. I was more or less like I was alone on this life journey. So I asked a friend, my roommate, who said they were going for an interview in another city. When is it happening? He told me the date, told me the city where it was happening and the time. All I needed to do was to show up in that city. Did I get an email invite? No. Was I invited by an SMS? No. It was a written interview. I prayed and I said to God, if only you can help me, that I get allowed into the interview room and know that at least I could scale. I would be among those probably that might be invited. So what did I do? I left the city where we're studying, flew into that city where the interview would be taking place a night before the day, 6:30. Now they told me the interview would start by 9. 6:30, I was already at the interview venue. Why did I do this? I knew that I didn't get an email invite. I knew I didn't get an SMS. So I figured out that if I go probably from 8, when most people will be coming, security might be asking, can we see your SMS? Can we see your email invite, all of that. So the best way to beat the security, I got a talk call, I beat the man at the gate. Now, how do I beat this guy at the gate? I needed to be there very early. So I was there by 6:30. So I just showed up on my suit, dressed the way I want to be addressed. And then I think I was the first that day. Young man, what are you here for? I said, for interview. Oh, okay, fine, come in. They didn't ask me for SMS. They didn't ask me for email. I went in. Before 9 o'clock, we had over 500 or nearly 600 people showed up at that place. And then what happened? They started saying, let's see your email. If you were not invited, if you didn't get your SMS, please leave. I didn't leave, I stayed back. Then more than half the number left. And then the HR guy came out, looked at the number and started calling people. Okay, the first 50 go in and write. The second 50 go in again. He keeps doing like that. I patiently waited until he got to the last turn. I think about the number 10th. The next 50 came, we went up to 50. Just look at the people outside. He said, okay, all of you come in. That was the moment I was waiting for. I went in and I said, God, thank you, you've done this. The next one is, I want to be among the top 10 in this interview. So we went in, 100 questions, pam, 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 under 45 minutes, I did. And then a week later, I got an SMS invite. Congratulations, you made it to the top 10. Now they were shortlisting, I think 100 people. I was in the top 10. I prayed and I said, there's no way if I show up in this aura that I will fail. So I got an SMS inviting me for the oral interview, and then I showed up, and that was how I got my job. Why do I say this? It's all about the belief system. It's all about the mindset and the attitude. Remember what I started with. I could tell you by two things, how badly you want a thing, what you're willing to do to get it, and what you're willing to give up to get that stuff. This is what defines you. So let's get back to people that are employed, people who want to run the business, people who probably want to go to the next level. I want to share, before I even get to what I need to share with you now, entrepreneurship is all about a journey that sometimes could be lonely if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have someone to work with. It's not a journey you go and say, I want to do it solo or by myself. That is going to be a rock hard one for you to conquer. This is where you need someone guide you. I could say to you, you are at the level where you are right now because you are chosen to do it all by yourself. One, or because you are associated with the wrong people. Guys, on the job where you are, on the service you render, there are places you could be paid 10 times more. 10 times more what you currently earning or what you could offer. But the problem is they don't know you, they don't see you. So the thing is, how do you move from the unknown into the space where you have to be seen? How do you move? You can't help everyone. I hear people say, don't charge. I run a coaching program. Uno has been one of my clients that have joined my program. He paid, even though he knows me very well. The thing is this, you can't help everyone. I know what it is when you're starting. You could decide to help the whole world, but you will soon discover that even Jesus wept because carrying the whole world is just too heavy. There's a point you get to, you have to move from the familiar into the unfamiliar, where people that can really afford your worth will pay for what you are. One of my friends shared something. He says, yes, we know Elon Musk has a lot of friends, but you know it's not all of his classmates that can buy Tesla car. Not all of his classmates. So there's a reason why there's BMW. There's a reason why there's Volkswagen. There's a reason why we have alternative. But when it comes to what you offer, you can't service everyone, not even your best of best friends. So you will need to get to a point where you need to scale a little and says, you know what? Grow to meet me where I am, not me trying to move everyone. I think that should be something you should be thinking about. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship, what really is entrepreneur? But I want to break it down in a very simple way you can relate. And I would like to take some of your questions before I leave. There are different fields, sectors, industries where you can take to become an entrepreneur. There are ways to go about it. All you just need to do is give your almighty employer his 9 to 5. Just make sure you work within that time frame. Give it to him. And from 5 to 9 or even 12, focus on what you can do. So there are different industries. There are the hospitality, there's the insurance, there are the physical manufacturing, agriculture, there's service industries where you could provide services, maybe consulting, servicing, like some people get too busy, you invite the hair guy who cuts your hair, or instead of going to the salon, you can invite someone to come to the house and do that. Some of us are so busy that you might not even be able to take care of your own laundries. You invite someone to come clean the house for you. There are different areas, different ways. You could choose to become a coding guy if you're good at coding. You can choose to become just whatever it is. The industry is wide. That's my point. It's wide. So you can be a mechanic if you have specialties in servicing car. You are an accountant. You can decide to help SMEs on the side to do probably business registrations, their books, keeping, and it's huge. So, but what you need to do is this. You will have to, first of all, choose. So I'm going to share with you simple strategies in terms of how you can become an entrepreneur. 5 tools you need. What are they? The first thing is, now you know that you can maybe choose to be the guy who cuts their hair. You can become a tailor if that's what you're passionate about. You could become a mechanic, like I say. You could even be the guy who fixes phones and laptop. We're talking about side hustle. We're talking about a second stream of income. We're talking about What alternative do you have if the job is gone? I took time to tell you about the story of my life that even before I ventured, when my job was gone, I sat back, then started asking myself, what else can I do? That was what got me to where I am. What else can I do? How can I get my job back? How can I get a stream of income? I still had responsibilities to take care of. My parents were old. I had older people and I had responsibilities. How do I do this? So I remember that I knew that I've written books and I've seen people make money from their books. I knew that I could coach. People always say, you're good at this. And I was always connecting businesses together. So Uno is looking for someone that can help him with a website. So I know a guy who can do this. I connect people. So I identified these skills that I felt I could do. Remember what I said, the entrepreneurial space or world industry is huge, is wide. You can venture into one. So I identified my 5 strengths. And then the next thing I asked myself is, I know there is a business to every passion. Now I have to pause here and say something. I'm passionate about website. I'm passionate about connecting people. I'm passionate about servicing car, repairing phones, and I'm passionate, whatever it is you're passionate about. Passion alone don't put money in your bank account. Passion alone can even make you broke and you will hate that passion. What do you think? There are people who speak and speak for free. There are people who shows up and they get paid. I've been privileged to be one of them. I've been to countries, all expense paid. I've run webinars, I've hosted people and they paid to just hear my advice. But I know you are also good. You're good at consulting, you're good at advising, but you seem to be doing it for free and you don't know why. The reason is there is a business to everything. So don't assume. That's why I encourage people, go for coaching, sign up for program, go learn the business of the passion. So I did all of this. Now, having told you about the different industries and the different sectors, how do you accelerate? The first thing you must do is, one, choose. You don't have to be a jack of all trades. If you read the book by Think Big and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about specialities, not general. You don't have to say, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 year, you already change into different ones. You have to stay and learn. So the first thing is, yes, I know you're good at coding. Yes, I know you're good at consulting. You like speaking. You like advising people. Go learn the business of speaking. How do people like Uno, how do people like Coach Oscar, how do people like Vusi Tembokwayo, how do people like Tony Robbins, how do they make money from the business of speaking or from the passion of speaking and helping people? So there's a business around everything, and that's what you need to do. But let's stay within how an entrepreneur can move and focus from, I have done this for my boss, now I want to start mine. The first thing is, choose what you want to learn. Point number 2 is, go find people that are doing this thing. People that are doing it already, and start learning from them. That's how you learn the business of it. You might ask Uno, I once told him that I knew this guy, I run webinars for some times. I used to host events, and you don't even profit from it. And I knew 1 or 2 friends that I know that make so much money. It wasn't so much that they were so good and better than who I am. What did I do? I paid some dollars to show up in their event just to learn the business of it. How does this guy close the call? How does this guy make the sale? What is it that this person is doing that I'm not doing? If you're getting value here, guys, I just want to get that emoji before I continue while I take my water. So tell me, are you finding value? Where's my water now? Okay. Are you getting value? I just want to hear your thoughts. I hate it when it's just like I'm talking to myself, more especially you have the laptop and all of that. Talk to me. Are you getting value, guys? Great. Amazing. So the thing is this, Oh, I just been notified. Okay, let's see how it goes. I thought I got an hour. All right, let's go. Now, you have to choose. Point number 2 is identify the people who are already in the space that you can learn from. Now, point number 3 is you have to become an expert. How do you become an expert? You are learning from people. You also need to learn how do they do this thing. Become an expert at one, not all. That was when I was talking about Napoleon Hill, who talks about specialities, not general skills. Learn at one thing to be better. You want to be better at coding, you want to be better at coaching, speaking, learn one thing and just learn to be good at it. So it will need you to invest so much time to learn at that. And point number 4 is find a way to make it much more better. So you're learning from Coach Oscar, you're learning from Uno, you're learning from other thought leaders, you're learning from everyone that you're learning from. But you also need to learn, what is my value proposition? How can I make this much better? The reason why is this, I said that is this. You can't reinvent the wheel. Stop saying that yours is so going to be so new, so different, and then you think that you can completely be so new. What you bring into the table is just, let me tell you, if what you bring into the table is so new, you will not attract everyone. I'd like you to go read the book, This is Marketing by Seth Godin. He talks about when you say you want to bring something that is too new, people, because the mind, there's how the mind responds to what they used to, they stay away completely. So you have to learn. As you're learning from those guys who are already in the space, the next thing is, how can I add a slight little thing? That's your value proposition. What is the way? It might not be that you're reinventing, it could just be the experience that you create. I think I'm just going to stop here. These are the 5 things. And then the last one is become an expert when you launch. Now, maybe one thing I want to touch before I take the question. I see my time is up here. The one thing that I want to touch is people always ask, but I need money, but I need finance, but I need, just like my friend Beth David says, you can't start a business when you say you don't have money. I agree, but there's different ways you can go about it. For example, it could be, all right, you can just like asking, who know, how did you find your wife? I always know you not to be the guy, the party guy, but there was a way around it. How did you meet your first girlfriend? Even if when you told yourself you shy, even when you told yourself that you are an introvert, you found a way around it. Why? There are 2 ways, I tell you, how badly when you want a thing. You will have to give up something, or you will have to do something completely new. So there are different ways you can actually get a startup to start your business. You can at least save up from what you're currently doing. Save up to invest in learning. Save up to join that program. Buy that webinar. Go learn it. It's going to save you so much time, so you don't end up doing trial and error. How about I share with you my over 7 years of experience being an entrepreneur? I made a mistake thinking that all I needed was just to hire an office, a nice boardroom, a training facility, 6 months, no clients. And what happened? I had to pack up and leave the office. I couldn't afford it. But I learned better. I started going for clients, started getting events, started getting paid before I could now go and hire an office. You will need to learn this. So it's not about you need an office space, you need a website. They are all great, but you need a first client. So these are my 5 strategies that can actually help you scale from where you are. Now, I've told you a few rules. I might just say it before I let you go or get out of your way. One rule is never use your employer's time to do your own stuff. I hate it and I strongly advise against it. Don't use your office tools. Don't even fix meetings. Don't even schedule sessions. Don't even go for the training during your office hours. If you really want it, sacrifice the weekend. If you really want it, sacrifice your from 5 to 9 or from 5 to 12. That's how badly, and you demonstrate how badly you really want it. So guys, before I let you go, I will probably want to take your questions. And Just talk to me. If you have any question, I'm going to stop here. And if you have a question, we take it from there. But anyway, before your question, tell me, what did you think? Did you get value? Who has a question? Someone said, how does one avoid being in conflict with their contacts, restrictions, building a personal clientele base with zero coaching of your workplace clients, but your employer still feels that your personal side hustle would distract? The thing is this, if I have to respond, I've given you the rule. You don't work for me and then be working for yourself. Not like that. You sometimes don't even need to make this so visible. You probably need to pay attention to what is my employer required of me. Now, first of all, give loyalty. First of all, demonstrate that you are here to support, you are here to learn, you are here to get all the experience you want. And then when it is time to leave, we talk about that. So do not use your office time to do your personal hustle. So if you were to work with me now, you don't use my time to, rather than help me get clients, you're converting the client to your client. That's you using my tools at this point. All right, any other question?
Questions, people, if you've got any questions, this is the time to be taking questions. How do you move from 9 to 5 to your 5 to 9 efficiently?
Question. The house is silent. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Maybe I could start, Coach.
All right.
There's always this hesitation, and I think even when we started on this journey, there was this hesitation, this thing like you can know all these things, but you never get started because you're procrastinating or whatever. What's the best way around, getting over this this procrastination?
The thing is this. Excellent question. Thank you, Uno. The thing is this about procrastination. It's not something anyone would say that I have completely mastered or overcome or beaten procrastination, that I'm so perfect. So I'm not speaking from a very perfect perspective. But again, there's something that is very fundamental about when you want a thing, and that becomes your drive. And that was why I said, I would know how badly you want a thing by what you're willing to give up. So you want to start. How do you start? Maybe you don't like your salary. Maybe your finances is no longer meeting all of your needs. Maybe whatever it is, your why has to be strong enough to compel you. I think that's the most important thing. Your why needs to be so strong enough to move you, to take action. Like I said in the beginning, nothing changes except you move. In fact, I could say to you guys, 5 years ago, is there anyone on this group? Just give me a yes or a no. Is there anyone on this group that 5 years ago, had you know what you now know, you could have done things differently? Had you know what you know, maybe you would have left the job, or you took a wrong decision that you look back now and says, had I know what I know now, I could have done this differently. Is there anyone in the room like that? Is there someone like that? 5 years ago, if you know what you know right now, you may have or would have done things a lot more differently. Now, the thing is this. There's a Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second most important or best time to plant a tree again is now. What you do now will determine what 5 years from now will look like. I could say to you from where I sit, some of you 5 years ago, you will remember this session. You will remember. Now, I have to give you an offer if you want. I run a coaching program, how to build your speaking business. If you want to take the coaching speaking 6 weeks program that is starting on the first week of April. Now, 5 years from now, you will look back and tell yourself, had I known, I would have. There are other speakers, there are other people that have been telling you, maybe take this action, invest in this. You've always been having an excuse. 5 years from now, you will look back at your excuse and you will completely see that that excuse wasn't strong enough. The same way I'm going to ask you, 5 years ago, with what you now know, do you think the excuse you had then, do you think is strong enough? Do you think you would have taken a different decision 5 years ago? Give me your yes, I want to know. With what you now know, would you have done things differently? That's it. So some people say, yeah, that should be myself. That should be now. There's another 5 years coming. There's another 10 years coming. In fact, there's another 1 year from now. What is going to be paramount is what you are willing to do right now. Tony Robbins says, it is the decisions you make, not the situation. I know you don't have money. You don't always have money. You keep complaining. The money, the salary is not enough. It is not the situation. It is the decision you make that shapes your life. The decision you make shapes your life and changes everything about you, not the situation. Situation will remain the same, but what changes is what decision you make. So it's cool if you decide to stay back and keep procrastinating. Don't worry, I'm going to do it in your next webinar. Okay, don't worry. Let me know when you have the next one. We always get to hear that. And what happened? The next one, they won't have. So it's not like there's a time what changes what is going to happen to you is, I need you to know if I never said it. No one is sure, guarantee of any paid job. We're not even sure that the next 10 weeks, the next 6 months, 1 year, that you are still sure about that job. What is going to change is the decision you make to say, you know what, I'm just going to start something. Let me go learn from the guys who are already learning, not just doing it, they're even profiting from it. Let me understudy them. Let me take this decision. This is what changes lives, not the situation. I don't know if I answered that question, brother.
You answered it right, Coach Oscar, and that is a powerful answer. I have a question here. When is the right time to give up on your employment career to fully embrace entrepreneurship? So when is that time when we can now say, okay, I'm going to move over to entrepreneur instead of my full-time job?
The thing is this. I wouldn't say from where I sit, this is the right time. We work together until when you now transition into running your own business. And from the look of things, it's been amazing since you took that decision. Now, you could have still been stuck where you were if you never take that moment, that decision. And again, like I did say, I could say by how badly you want a thing, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to give up. Now, if I have to be very honest, when I looked at the fee, it was in dollars, and he says, Coach, I may not be able to pay this at a goal. How about we split this? Now, here's what is happening. Someone thought, I need it. I don't want to say I don't have the money, but I'm now going to say, is there any room to say, give me maybe by installment or by all of that? Those are what you're willing to do to get it. So when is the right time to leave? I can't say from where I sit, leave today, leave this month. But if you want to go start a side hustle, you should be able to save to a certain extent that could cover your bills for maybe the next 3 months minimum. At least could pay your bills for 3 months without blinking. You need to be sure about that. And then if your side hustle is making you money, probably 50% of what you're currently earning, I think that might be like the right time to say, if you now give it 100% of your time, you might be able to take it to 80 or 100. So from where I sit, I may not say this is the right time, but I leave that to your mind, your conscience. But one fundamental truth, don't jump when you don't have this. Malachi. I don't know if I answered it.
So there's a bit of caution there being given, so that you just don't jump blindly, but you definitely have to make a call on your own. But there's also a call for urgency here to say, move for it. Don't just be waiting. Don't be the waiting guy forever. There's a time and place where it will be needed for you to be moving. Is it possible to maintain both entrepreneurship and your employment? Is another question we're having here.
Absolutely, yes. You can, as long as it doesn't conflict with your paid job. And like I said, your priority number one goes to your boss, your employer, who pays the bill. He dictates the tone. So as long as it doesn't conflict, you can keep it for as long as you can. As long as while I was working, I was always scheduling most of my speaking event for weekends because I weren't working on weekends. So most of my engagement were scheduled for Saturday, Sunday, or in the evenings. You can do both. But again, like I did explain to the guy who asked the question when to jump, you just need to know when to take that leap. But from where I stand again, I would say, yes, you can maintain both as long as it doesn't conflict with your boss or your employer's time.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Maruta.
Yes, hello, Coach Oscar. Before you go, I just have a question because
when you're building.
Sorry, is this noise coming from? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, my question is like this. I think you mentioned about that you can't have multitasking. For example, you can be for example, if you are a teacher or if you are a motor mechanic, you can be specifically go in that field. So my point is like this. For instance, if I see, for example, my goal or my talent is this one, for example, let's say doctor. But for me to reach to that goal, I need to pass through all the other the tasks that I know that I have the ability to do it. Should I pass through that way, or should I just go direct to my goal? Because, for instance, maybe I don't have the much resources that I need to run to the actual goal that I'm aiming. For example, maybe I need to run a bigger business which needs, let's say, for example, which business can I say? Let's say I want to do electrical business. So my if I want to go from one house to another, I need transport. But for myself, I don't have transport for now. So maybe there's other source of income that I can use, like some small businesses. What should I do so that I can get there to my actual goal?
Very quickly, Coach Oscar, that one as we round up.
Okay, I think what I would say, your question is not so clear. So I would say that you personally struggling with clarity, you definitely need to be so clear. I think from what I said in the beginning, we can all start from everywhere. Like I used the example of you want to date or you want to have a girlfriend, a boyfriend. You probably just need to, people meet in church, people meet in clubs, people meet online. So you should have at least something. And if you say you want to start this big project, for everything that is big, they always start small. So I don't believe that notion that you need this big capital to get this done. Sometimes it's really not about the big capital. Sometimes it's just figure out what you want. That's where it all begins from. Figure out what you want and break it down in pieces. So you want to start a big firm, you want to build a second house or whatever. From where I understand your question, break it down to the smallest bits. And you have to be clear in terms of how do I get there? I want to own a big house. Then I need a sand, I need a cement, I need a, just break it down. I think when you break it down, you'll be able to see the small thing you can do to get to the big one. And please, you can also connect with me on Facebook. And Uno, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Coach Oscar. I'd like to really give, my thanks for, I know that, this session could have cost us a lot of money for us to be able to get this, but you've given your time, you've given your literally you've donated your money to come through to this. So I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate you as a coach of mine, and I appreciate what you had to share today, so that those who want to move or those who want to extend onto the entrepreneurship landscape can go through successfully. So thank you very much. Can we please give a round of applause to Coach Oscar and